What's up? It's Brandon here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a follow-up review on the Them Skates 908 in Ivory. So I've been skating these for the last 2 months, and in that 2 months I have noticed a few new things I didn't bring up in the first review that I kind of want to let you guys know about. And on top of that, just want to show you guys the general wear and tear these skates have had from me skating them, and hopefully you get an idea of how well they'll last for you. So first off, let's jump into the other points I noticed about the skate. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the flex of the skate. When I did the first review, I said this is quite a solid skate. And it's solid in the sense that it's good quality, but it's not a rigid skate. It's not like a carbon, I guess it's a rigid skate. The flex on these is quite unique. You can especially notice it in this photo I got here. This is when I first noticed how flexy the skate is. I was doing a royale on this rail, and the boot seems to be stiffer than the cuff, to the point where the boot and the cuff flex separately, and you can see the cuff separates from the boot in the photo. And I wasn't very impressed with this when I first saw it. I was like, kind of want my skate to be all in one piece when it flexes, but I have to bring it up with some old friends. This is not a new thing. This apparently used to be a very similar thing that happened on the USD Thrones, the old school one, where the cuff would do the same thing. And so it's not a bad thing, it's not cheap in any way. It shows that this is quite a flexy boot. I can almost compare it to skating a rims. I've skated rims before and they are a very flexy boot. You can like push the sole to the floor just by standing there. So these have that kind of flex. Not quite to the extreme of rims, but it's similar. Don't buy a skate looking for a rigid, hard boot. This is a flexy skate for you. Alright, another thing I picked up on is although the lacing system is really good in the fact you can really tighten the skate up, the laces are a very crucial part of the boot. The laces that come stock with the skate are quite cheap, and they are definitely going to break on you. So when they do, you'll probably notice this as well. This happened to me when I went to Rhinedale skate park in this video, and I didn't have any spare laces, so I had got the full-on feeling of what it's going to be like to skate without any laces in. And wow, it was very different. The flex of the skate is so different. It suddenly becomes the most loose, flexy skate in the world. Like, whenever I went to do a royale, the eyelids started popping up and it felt like the skate was going to rip in half. So what I would recommend doing, as soon as you buy these skates, buy some more laces as well, some good quality laces, and just have them in your skate bag from the day one of skating them, so that you're never going to be caught out and not going to be able to skate or break your skate just because you don't have any laces. Another thing I noticed, in the first review I said the small sole plate wasn't a problem for me, and that it actually felt better for tricks, and I still stand by that. This smaller sole plate definitely makes you skate more solid, makes you get on tricks, and I've had no problem with any sole or royale, especially back royales and stuff. They still feel absolutely amazing, but I am having a lot of trouble with top sides on ledges. Now, I have only been skating flat on these. I haven't skated anti-rocker, although you could probably call this anti-rocker at the moment. Got the flat wheels rocket up, if you can see this. I've been having a lot of trouble where I just can't lock them in without getting wheel bite, and it totally is because of how small this heel is. But on rail and copy and everything else, it feels totally fine, don't even notice. But I do really notice it on ledge, and I am yet to have mastered it. I'm getting more and more afraid of top sides, which I'm not the biggest fan of, because I like top sides. I really liked doing top soles, and the skate's making it a bit hard for me, but I'm determined to master it. And if you're up for the challenge, it's still a skatable skate. And on anti-rockers and like juice blocks, if you've seen Back to Bladen's videos, you know you can do top sides in them. This is more a problem for me. So they are still absolutely amazing for back royales. I have no idea what it is, but you can just really sit on that back royale and you just slide. It just locks in. It feels so good. I feel like I could back royale forever in these. Another thing I noticed about these, which isn't so good, is that the buckle here, the clip part of the buckle, is very sharp. While skating these, on one of the earlier times of skating these, I set out to do a trick which was absolutely ridiculous, which is a Unity 360 sole, and I spent ages trying to do it, and while doing it I sliced up my leg quite a lot on this buckle. Now this is probably just a me problem, and you can easily stop this just by wearing pants. If I was wearing pants, it probably wouldn't have happened, but it did do some damage to me and the other skate. So it's just something to keep in mind if you like skating shorts. You might want to do something about this sharp buckle. I know a lot of people also had trouble with unbuckling it, to the point where people were moving the buckle, moving it forward so they could pull it off. I don't really understand it because I find it's very easy to unlock. And there's a trick to it too where you can just push it forward and it pops straight off. I don't understand, but anyway. I did actually skate the skates on a big wheel setup as well. They felt amazing. They had the speed and the nice fly out of skating a 72mm wheel, but I had absolutely no wheel bite. Whether that's to do with the frame I was skating or the skates, I don't know. But if you wanted to skate power blade and skate big wheels, these skates are great for it. Highly recommend it, especially with the lacing system. They just feel to your foot. It's great. Highly recommend it. Another thing I noticed that you probably want to keep in mind before you buy these, this was brought to my attention by Back to Blading. It's the fact that the backside groove doesn't line straight up with your H-block. It's on a slight angle, and this is actually something that a lot of skates do differently. So it's actually not normal to have it lining up. Maybe I'm the only one who didn't know this, but Valos and Razor Colts and things like that, they have a slightly crooked line up of the backside plate and the H-block. But the Razor Shift and the Razor SLs, they all don't. It lines up straight. So that's where I was coming from. So I was used to skating a perfectly lined up backside plate to H-block. So I didn't even know that was a thing, and I didn't have any trouble at all. So if you're doing the same thing as me, and maybe you saw Back to Blading's video, which I highly recommend checking out, don't be too worried. I think you adjust to it pretty quick. I did. Although I do still have some problems with Nugans for some reason, like back Nugans and front Nugans, they feel a lot harder than Royales and stuff, and I think it's because you have to kind of over tweak it because of the angle. But nothing you can't overcome is doable, and nothing you'll even notice until someone points it out. So don't be worried about that. Another thing that Back to Blading made me notice about the skate is that there is a weird divot for where the T-nut and the heel is on the skate, and that can actually hurt your heel quite a lot. Now I didn't notice this until I changed my Karate frames. I'm skating the CRS frames, which are suspension frames. I changed it to the rigid setup where they had no suspension, and that day my heels were very sore. I figured it was just because there's no shock absorption in the skate. It's just like straight skate, kind of like Valos and stuff. And like coming from a Razor, there's quite a thick shock absorber in there, so I figured it might be just that. But I noticed it did really hurt my heels, kind of like a point in my heel, not like my whole heel from ground shock. And that is totally because of this thing that Back to Blading noticed. He has an easy fix for it. You should watch his video so you know how to do it. I haven't done it myself because I noticed with the suspension frames, I don't need it. I don't even notice it. As soon as I didn't have it though, all I was doing was skating like a down rail, and it hurt a lot. Not to the point where I bruised my heels, but they did just hurt. So keep that in mind. Maybe be prepared to do that fix. So that's all the extra things I noticed about the skate. Now let's move on to the wear and tear, and I'll hopefully give you guys some idea of how long they're going to last you if you fork out the money for them. So I've had these skates for like exactly 2 months, and I've been skating them from 2 to 8 hours a week, which is a lot for me, and I've been going pretty hard on them. And just from the amount of skating I've done it, they have definitely started to wear in some kind of bad ways. So let's jump into that. First thing I'm going to talk about is the liner. Now the liner itself is still very comfortable to me. It is held up surprisingly well. There's almost no rips. On the inside there's absolutely no rips. It's held up amazing. Still got a lot of cushion. It actually has broken in as well, which I was worried it wouldn't. When I first got these, it didn't hurt my toes, but I definitely could feel my toes after skating it. But now they just feel fine. I could skate them all day and I don't notice anything. So they will break in, and now I can definitely say I recommend if you are a size 10.5 US, you can fit the medium. As long as you're on the dot, okay? If you're on the lower side of that, you'll be calling it close, but you can do it. It'll break in. The liner is holding up great. It is starting to rip around the tongue, but other than that, still amazing, still very comfortable. And I'm still quite impressed because it did seem like a basic liner, but it's a very good liner. The hood on it though, on another hand, it works for holding it in place, but it is in a place where you're going to slide on it, and I've noticed it's very easy to do that, and I've started to rip the sides of it that go over the buckle and stuff, just because they are there to slide on when you fall over. But it's still holding up. still doesn't look too bad. So nothing too bad. So onto the buckles now. Sadly for me, one of the clips on the buckle has actually rusted to the point where it doesn't spring shut anymore, which is disappointing for me. It makes it feel a bit cheaper, and I also have to really watch how I click them on now, because it unclicks quite easily. And it's not like I was skating these in the rain or leaving them outside in the rain. I've had to keep these inside, and I've looked after them quite well, and I'm pretty disappointed that it broke. But then again, who doesn't have 100 spare buckles? So if I really wanted to, I could chuck another one on, but just keep that in mind. The rest of the buckles though, held up absolutely fine. They're metal buckles too, so that the buckle side's like indestructible. It's protected super well as well. You're never gonna break that. And yeah, my other clip is still fine. So it's just bad luck, I think, that it broke. Your buckle's gonna last. Now the hardware on the skate, it's all, like I said, this is all very high quality. It's all held up pretty well, except for one bolt for me. The cuff bolt I can no longer tighten or untighten. It spins on the inside. I suspect I like rounded the plastic or something. I was pretty disappointed with this. Maybe makes me get a cheaper impression of this skate. But then again, they are a cheap skate. So, and every other bolt on them is totally fine. I haven't rounded any yet somehow, and I've been over tightening these. So definitely good hardware, and it's lasting. Another eyelids on the skate. This is a problem I've had with all skates. A few of them decide to rust out on me, and that makes my laces rust out and break as well. So if anyone has any tips to stop that happening, maybe I just sweat a lot or something, but I don't know, be ready for that to happen. Now onto the most important part of wear and tear. How have the grooves and soles been holding up? So for a cheap skate, I am very impressed by this. The sole plates on them have a decent amount of depth for the sole plate bolts, so you're never gonna grind on them. It's great. So far I've rounded them a little bit, but they have lasted amazingly. I'm very impressed with the sole. They've got so much more life in them. And same with the grooves. I've only really been skating regular, which is pretty weak. So, and I have worn the grooves in. I've kind of made my own groove, which is good. It almost looks like a razor one now, but I've worn the point off. They still work absolutely great. And they still have heaps of life in them as well. I'm just skating these so much, skating street and everything. So grooves are gonna last you, what can I say? Very impressive. Keep in mind though, for the grooves, for me, I am skating flat, which means when I'm royaling, it's at a higher angle than it would be if you're skating anti-rocker, because it's taller frames. So that might be prolonging the life of my groove more than I know, but I'm impressed. So after skating these for 2 months, I can definitely say that these are a durable skate. And for the price of 165 US dollars, they are a steal. They're gonna last you a very long time. I think all the notable damage I've had is they're kind of anomalies, and it's just been bad luck on my side, and they shouldn't happen to you, especially if you look after your skates. So once again, I still highly recommend getting some Them Skates 908. They are a very good skate. So if you are short on money and you don't want to be forking out cash for new skates very often, these are the skates for you. And I know that Them Skates did just recently come out with a new edition of these, where they improved the sole plate even more somehow, and they fixed the problem with the thread spinning that I bring up, meaning they're going to be even better. They're going to be like a shift, more like a shift, like I said. You're going to be able to change sole plates easier, meaning you can change frames easier. If you're on the fence, you should get these. I'm calling it. So that's it for my Them Skates follow-up review. I hope I gave you some insight into the durability of the skate and helped you decide whether you want to buy them. If you like this video and you want to see more content like this, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to check out Back to Blading's review. It helped me out a lot and it's absolutely amazing. Big shout out to my Patreon Deb, and I guess I'll see you guys on Wednesday, so peace out.